And thank you guys again.
Did you want to mention the restrooms?
Oh yeah, the restrooms are out the door and to the right. And
the one that says faculty, we generally use for the men. We don't have a lot of male teachers here, so.
There's a single toilet.
Yes. And we do still have kids in the building. The park district uses the school for adventure camp, as they call it, after school here. So, most of the men usually prefer going to the faculty. And then just one door beyond that is the ladies' room.
Past the drinking fountain.
And feel to get free to get up and move around. And I thought we brought. Did we bring the cookies in here?
Yes.
And the cookie. We have cookies and brownies. The cookie's really good. We can pass them around halfway through. So welcome, and Sarah, take it away.
Okay, I'm using a speaker that I didn't buy with my smart board.
So we can't hear you.
Well, then I turned it up too loud so I get a lot of feedback. On my machine.
On your
volume on my desktop. I have a lot of voice. No, I think on my desktop. Maybe that's where the controls are there. Is it any better?
No, I don't hear you at all. Are you on?
You come on.
Are we on in the wall?
Maybe we'll turn it up on the wall. Yes, we're on the wall.
Can I take this extra chair and move it to the back?
Yeah.
Would you mind? Thank you. I have an extra chair, Charlene.
Oh, there is? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Other Charlene.
Well, it's not extra. Oh, here.
Oops, sorry.
I don't know where you're. Is that? Here, unless somebody's going to use that better? After. Because it's not hooked up. Well, then we'll just forget it. I'll just talk about it. I'm a loud talker. I don't have it hooked up. Well, it's hooked up through my desktop, of course, but I have my laptop hooked up now. The biggest thing I would find, and if Jeff can maybe say yay or nay to that, the best part about the smart board is just to talk to your students in front of them, rather than the typical setup where your computer is backed by the projector, and you're always talking at the back of their head. So that's, like, for me, that was worth every penny that the smart board cost, was just to be standing in this direction to everybody. Because then also you have to use your mouse and go, see where my mouse is? From behind. Now I can actually point to it. The basic gist of it, not even using the smartboard software, so to speak, is that I can just control any program that I have from the board in front of them. So, for example, if I wanted to go to the internet, I would just press it here. And I can actually show the kids, just by touching the board, how to navigate something. Whereas, can I go to the library? Do you want to? So here, I just think the ease of actually saying, okay, now we're going to press on online reference sources and being able to show them in the front how that works is worth $1 million. So that's one thing. Now, in addition to that, it does have the writing utensils. These are dummy markers. They're not really working. When I pick up a marker, I get a little dialog box, so to speak, and I can write on here, and it doesn't matter. If I pick up the next marker, it just will assume I am using the latest one that I picked up. It won't get confused in that sense. And if I put a marker down in the wrong thing, it doesn't know what color the marker was. It's only knowing which tray I'm picking up. So this is in the red tray, it's going to think that's a red marker. So if you should lose a marker, it wouldn't really matter. You could actually just operate with one. And I think that's what the Promethean does, right?
Yeah, one.
There's one that does everything.
Style.
Yeah. So I could just put like maybe a rock or something there to get rid of the signal from there and just use the one marker and move the rock depending upon what color I wanted.
What else is special about those styluses? There's nothing else special about those styluses?
No, they're not. They don't have a battery in them or anything. So, and then, I hit the board and it erased, but I can also bring it back. If I hit that by accident and I wanted my notes on there, I could bring it back. But I could also get rid of them to move on to the next topic I had by just pressing the board. I know that I have the board up. It's kind of hard to see, but I got a little white rim, so I know I'm in this active mode. And I could actually capture what I wrote if I felt I was very profound by clicking on the camera, and it would put that into my notebook, which I'll open in a minute. And if I wanted to always bring that up again and again for the students. I was like, am I hearing things, or is it?
We're being broadcast all around
Yes.
the world right now, so just so you know, don't be.
So, any questions about the markers, the eraser? So, the other thing that it has, I do have an online keyboard, or on-board keyboard, or whatever you call it, floating keyboard. I have a button here in front of my eraser, and it brings up a keyboard. And if I wanted to, I just use my finger like a mouse, so 3 clicks highlighted the area, and I could type in a new website that I wanted to go to.
Iceberg.org. Show off our new website.
All right.
I left out the R.
Yeah, that's a problem. Your spelling, you have to get used
You gotta
to.
change the name of your website.
Yeah.
Well, we're at a nice meeting, so you should see the new ICE website. Gary helped create too, right? Gary?
Yeah,
Right behind.
I've heard of it.
Thinking about it?
See, it doesn't work.
Sarah, are you wireless?
There you go.
I'm wireless, do you want me to check?
No.
No, I'm fine. I'm there.
And look what I did, Charlene. I put it up on the...
There we go. We're in print. So that's the online keyboard, and I can bring that back. There's 2 buttons, or actually 3 buttons, but 2 big ones. The other one is the right click. Since I don't have a mouse with me, I don't have a right click capabilities. But if I wanted to, I could open up that right click, and I could click on that, and the next click would be a right click, giving me the dialog box of maybe something that I might want. Copy the image or something. The next one, little button, is just an online or a help button, taking me to, or it will take me to, the tools or the background tools. One of the things that I don't use very often, because my projector is mounted and my board is mounted, is aligning the smart board. Sometimes you have to do that when you have a portable one, or if just after the summer I always align it. But other than that, I don't really have to do that, but I will show you. So it has little cross marks, and instead of trying to click on it, I start up here and I release on it, and that is what it wants. It just wants the release point, not the click point.
I only have to click on 5 points.
All right, point for Promethean. I will say, and maybe part of our debate today, it was a really difficult choice for us here at District 30. I'm not sure we made necessarily the right choice. We made a choice. And it's really hard if you don't have one in your school to kind of pick what is better, what's the difference between them. And I would say I'm still not, you know, maybe, I mean, I do enjoy this, and I can't say I have any problems with it, but maybe I'll change my mind after today. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Yes,
And the other
Michelle?
thing, just to add, and obviously...
Michelle was in with us.
A lot of us probably know this, but obviously Promethean and Smart Board aren't the only 2 choices in the whiteboard whole category of, you know, what's available. And so I know, like, at least here, we started with, a while ago, we started with the Mimeo
Right.
that you would suction cup onto the side, and, you know...
It went nowhere.
It went nowhere. It sat on my shelf, and no one wanted to use it. And
Yeah.
so... And
I'd like to sell them on eBay.
yeah. I don't think you're going to get any money for them. They were the older ones,
The
right?
blue
I mean,
one, we had that one, and then we just upgraded to the other one. It's still hard to get people to use it. It's more mobile, though.
The problem is, they are terrific, but they're not, it seems to work better when you have it mounted. It's always there.
Right.
You can
Many
count
people
on
just-
it.
many people
But
just
that
don't
extra
take
setup
it.
time is quite a hurdle.
Right.
So that's what I think we found out. Because you did some nice demos on it and how to use it and everything.
And
But it's
then you
difficult.
also go into, and I'm sure, and I'm sorry, I know we have someone from Promethean here as well, right?
isn't there something?
No, there's
else?
No,
not.
oh, that's the other one.
So you can
But,
say anything you want.
but, you know, there's also for both of them, and more that I know of for the Promethean, they have a lot more add-ons. And maybe sometime we can make sure we just talk about a little both of the Smartboard add-ons and the Promethean add-ons. Because it's not all about just the board, there are other things as well, and so that might help people who
Who
are
has
interested.
a smart board or a Promethean board, an interactive whiteboard?
And what about, I think there's another one called, I think, is it the
Interwrite.
Oh, yeah.
IntelliWrite or
Interwrite.
Yeah, it is Interwrite.
Yeah. Bob, you have one of those, right?
And we looked at them for their clickers.
Yes, and
Right there.
the difference is, I was told, and again, I don't have the board, but it has to do with resolution. Apparently, I'm not sure what the resolution is on the Promethean, but what I was told was that it's about like 480 DPI, I guess. And then when you move up to a smart board, it's a little bit better, but the Interwrite
Sorry.
has the highest resolution of any other board. Now, I have not actually seen one, so I'm only speaking from what I'm told. But
And whether, is that a sizable difference or not? I don't know.
yeah,
The redraw.
And also the durability, you can write on permanent markers,
Right.
still get that out, work these out. I think the main thing is.
Of which board? Which is more
The
durable?
interval.
Okay.
Plus, you know, you're looking at $1,200, $1,000 versus $5,000.
Right.
Well, I want to say for the larger size, maybe $1,500, but still, right.
Plus it's,
Plus the
Right.
projector.
I would say price-wise, I think when we looked into it, the Promethean was more money at the time than Smart. And I think also if you go to if you're interested, last I checked, if you go to the Smart website, they did have what they called grants.
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
Oh, they
just
don't?
adjusted your pricing.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
never mind. All right, I'll leave, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but that was good. They had a grant to make it more attractive. Now I think they just adjusted the pricing because everybody got the grant, you know?
If you're a Den member, you can get a Promethean, after price. You know the
Yeah,
price?
it's quite a
It's $17.95, it includes an active tablet and an active slate.
Oh, they had the tablet.
That's through the end of November.
and if you're interested in an Interwrite, all ICE and NICE members would get a 10% discount according to the regional representative I spoke with today, Mark Hobbs.
Oh!
Right? Yeah.
Sorry.
He used to be our director of technology.
Very interesting. Lost my train of thought, but oh well, it's gone. So. Of course, mine is hung as low as it can be hung because I'm only 5 feet tall. So it's a good thing I'm in a elementary school. I wanted to show you, I have a quick thing, it doesn't work great. I stole this from the internet. So, I know what I wanted to say. I did attend an open house at a well-known high school in the area. And, I was so disappointed because they have a lot of smart boards in their building. And I had, in all but one of them, they just projected their syllabus onto the screen. Nothing interactive. I mean, we are just parents, but what a missed opportunity not to do a PowerPoint that has some interactive features to it, but just to display a page. One person did scroll down on their page. One person used an overhead machine and did the transparency onto the smart board. I almost had to leave. And I think it's just, as I'll even tell you today, I've only scratched the surface of what it can do. It does take time and training, but oh my gosh, I'm formulating a letter in my head to the principal. But, so this is, I took this PowerPoint from the internet. It's just a Jeopardy. I think most of you have seen this. Have most of you seen the interactive thing? It doesn't work great, but I just wanted to show you, for example, with the kids, if we were to start on the Jeopardy screen, the students could come up here and touch this. I have found with the younger kids, though, they sweat a little bit because they get a little nervous there. So their hand doesn't quite be able to press the button. as well as you can. So, again, just a nice interactive lesson. You don't have to sit here and lecture. They can touch it. It's durable. So, the 5 classes of vertebrates include mammals, reptiles, fish, birds, and... I don't know. What is an amphibian? This one doesn't work well because it doesn't go to the next screen. I have to click myself out and come back in. But it was one that was just showing an example of it, and I just wanted to show it to you, how programs that just work on your computer can work on the smartboard. So let's get out of there. I think the Promethean as well comes, we called it a flip chart, I think. This is my notebook, just a screen. I can write on it. I can do a math problem on it. The first one that I chose to show you, I just was absolutely fascinated by this. Oh, I did want to mention too, I'm not sure what the rule is with Promethean, but with Smartboard, the software is free. So I could load this on all of my lab machines, as long as I own one, that's a good point, and demonstrate it here, and then each child can sit down and do it themselves with their mouse, just from their screen. But this is a dissection of a frog. Press the scalpel button. So you got to come over here and find the scalpel button. Is that it? Make 3 incisions along the dotted red line. The students would just come up and be... Oh, they want to go there first. Open the skin flaps and pin them. Pressing on the Now open the muscular abdominal flaps and pin them also. All right, open up. Locate and press on the thorax. Is that up here? Press on the scissors button. See, it's just interactive. I just think that's cool. That's just one at science, right? So that's that situation. This is the, I just wanted to show everyone that you can take your notes here for the students. So if I wanted to write, oh, you gotta slow down. And I could highlight my words, and then here it shows up. I can turn it, but I don't know why I would want to. But, so I can turn it into writing, and it's giving me many choices, and it can turn it into the written word if I wanted to save it that way. If I had something, you know, spelling words or something that the students wanted to work on. Just turning your notes into words, I would say.
Like a DOL.
Like a DOL. This is a window shape. See the little indents that I have? So you could be a revealer. If you were working on a math problem, you could be talking about the steps into the window shape. Also spelling words, DOL, where you write it there and then write the other way. So I don't interact with the students in that way here in the lab, but I think if you had this in your classroom, that'd be great.
How about the algebraic notation?
Whoa!
Too much? Inhale, square root.
It's actually 1 through 5.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right, select.
Yes, and well, I'll show you the gallery in a second. How about that? So here I just set up a problem. If I want the students to put $1 out there, I'm going to bring up the gallery now. Here's the gallery, and I'm in mathematics. Lots of choices. These are extra downloads, but they're free. But if I wanted to, yeah, it's a good way to count to 21. So these coins, I'll just show you, I have them cloned. So I can move them out, but it still keeps the choice down there so I can put out many. So I just wanted to show you, if I wanted to drag the quarter out, and then I click on it, I get the arrow, and I would infinite clone it. And then that allows me to move as many as I want out there. So you could have several problems like that for the children to come up and make $1. If they were wrong, the clone won't delete though. That's set. That's there. So that's kind of a fun project, I think. So here's the gallery. Here's a choices. Arts, English and language arts, geography, history, math. There was science, that's where I got the quad from. People and culture, sports and recreation, and just, the math has so many things around it. They have maps and pictures and flags and they have phonetic sounds. I wasn't really sure how far we'd want to go in there.
Can I take a look at the phonetic sounds to see
Sure.
what they are?
Can you also just grab a picture off the internet and put it into your notebook, whatever that thing is called? I think
Yes,
that's-
yes. You can capture a
Yeah.
picture,
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
and bring it in, yes.
Okay.
No, I just had to think about what you were saying. Along the side here, I could go back and forth between my page sorter and the gallery. And then also, I can hide it and see anything on my desktop. So, I would say, the Windows had a few more bells and whistles, like you could actually, if I brought up a Word document, I could write in it and would recognize the type and put it in there. The Macintosh does not have that. But I think it's okay to write with a pencil. So if I had my DOL on a document sheet and I wanted to just bring it up here, I could just write in the blank there. Kind of all I was thinking about. Were you thinking about anything else, Pat?
Did you show them recording?
Oh, I didn't show them recording. I'm not really good at that. I'm a little nervous about it.
It's okay.
So, that would be under your tools. I'm even confused on that. I don't record myself. I don't keep it for, the lesson on posted to look at it later. You could do that. You could record, in fact, all the steps that you take as well as your voice, and put it together in a bundle and bring it out. The Promethean does that as well, right?
Oh, cool.
So, do we want to look over there now, or, okay.
Just a couple questions.
Yeah.
Does this do a text-to-speech? If you were doing a reading activity and you wanted it to read the words around the book?
This one has a speaker. I mean, if you pulled out those phonetic ones, we've had...
Right, but that's right, you're right, it says what you,
You have to turn on, I think,
Oh, it just said city.
City.
yeah.
About how many resources?
But I'm not sure, she's saying like if I were to write something and have the student, have it read back to the student or something.
But I mean
Well,
the
this
ones
might-
that come with
I just had a second question too. How do you add, again, this is my first opportunity to see this. How do you add your own program or your own software? In other words, or are you tied to the software that's would create?
You are tied to their software, yeah.
tied to their curriculum?
Unless you use your own program.
You can create your own,
I can use PowerPoint, I can use Word, I can use KidPix, I can use any of my
You
programs.
use those to create your own lessons?
Sure,
And
yeah.
then project them on the,
Yeah, just becomes interactive.
and then you can have all the tools on your own program.
Right, yes, the program would just do the program. It doesn't really interact with the Smartboard software in that sense, only the Smartboard. I wouldn't open a notebook to bring up KidPix or Word or anything. I would just have that open all by itself.
But you could use the tools of the whiteboard with that.
I could write on it with the pencil to make notes, yes. And then I could capture that picture into the notebook software if I wanted to. So that I can have it
There's
back.
some people, just so you know, from Washington DC and also from Aurora, watching us on Ustream. And the question came, the question came, can you show the media player so that you can do videos, pretend videos in here?
I don't know if I can. Do they know? Does anybody know how to use the media player? They haven't used everything.
It's over in your tools.
This? No, this.
I got it.
Do you want to move it right there?
Sure.
The second one over.
We have a second one.
I think that's just that's where the recorder is.
Okay.
Sorry. There, can
Press
I
your
add-
arrow off to the side, there might be the media player.
The arrow on the right.
On the right-hand side at the
On
top.
the bar. No,
Up on
top.
on the toolbar.
Right there, yeah.
Screen shade, screen spotlight, and magnifier.
Oh, yeah.
While we're finding the answer to that, the other thing, and we mentioned this before, and as Ann is getting ready to turn it over to Jeff on the Promethean, what about add-ons? there's add-ons that go with it as well. Smartboard has a tablet
Where did I get the movie from?
that you can walk around with, and the Promethean has it as well, but it's basically like a graphics tablet that you can do all of your things straight on there, and it will show up on the screen.
I will say, when I downloaded the update today, it is now hooked to United Streaming, that's right. So what they're saying is that I can bring in if I had United Streaming, which I don't, and bring that in, and they're saying that if I picked up a pen, it would pause it at a certain point if I wanted to make a note on it. So,
Or, have the kids watch the.
or predict, right. But, we don't have United Streaming, but I did notice that was an addition today on the update, so that was kind of cool. Also, I will make a little plug for the Promethean, because we subscribe to NetTrekker. Does anyone subscribe to NetTrekker? That's a terrific search engine. And they have Promethean within that search. I'm always disappointed. I thought last year at ICE, that they said that they were working with Smartboard to also bring the same thing, but I haven't seen it come through yet. So that's nice that you can bring down that lesson straight from the Promethean board as you search from NetTrekker.
And for both of them, I've seen, and this is when I started getting interested in the whiteboards, any website where there's a drop and drag game or whatever it may be, can obviously can be used, because again, you're just using a pen or your finger or whatever as the mouse, and so it makes it a little bit more group friendly than if it's just on your computer. But there's that as well.
There's some tricks based from the web.
Okay.
And I did find that
I know, I want to move. I think
have
to a
you
website.
can go to a search for Interactive Whiteboard. They have a bunch of things that you can come and play.
Looks like I have a couple on mine.
Okay, so that's nice to know. I've just scratched it.
Any other questions for Smart? There's a question back here, but this one question that was right here was what websites can you find that are
But
interactive?
they do have online resources right through here. I think it's a direct link. It's in my gallery. Online resources. So there you go, lessons and activities, curriculum standards, online classroom resources and training. I probably didn't need to read that. Great, cool.
The other thing is, as I was saying over here, if you are interested, if you have a whiteboard, I just noticed Lucy Gray, she is a delicious accountant, can't speak, and so it's delicious/ELEMENOUS, and then she's just started bookmarking a bunch of interactive smartboards.
Elementus.
Elementus, delicious, so DEL.ICIO.US/ELEMENOUS. And then she has a bunch that are she has links that are smartboard or interactive, and that's a place to kind of get you started. I think she attended a session training. And you have a question right there.
There's a website called kia.com, and it has all kinds of interactive.
Okay, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
but they have free ones that you can go on. They have shared ones. Free.
I can also change the thickness of my pen if I wanted to, and then shapes and stuff as well.
The math teacher at Maple teaches 8th grade algebra, I guess. And she uses the text instrument, yes, calculator, and it comes with software to project onto that, so she can go through a graphing calculator and do some higher math stuff. I come from an elementary background, so she can operate it right there and record her steps. So then, after she's done with that, she can go work with a small group of kids, and if the kids need to see what she did repeated, they just hit play, and they watch the steps over and over again. So, She loves her board and uses it constantly. She's pregnant right now, couldn't come tonight.
I have another question.
Yep.
I was handed, I guess this is interactive for Promethean. Yeah. Does the smart board have a similar feature?
Yes, I believe they
The
do.
clickers.
So does an
So does Internet.
Yeah.
They're called Sentios. Smartboard came out with them last summer.
What are they called?
Sentio, S-E-N-T-E-O. And they're radio frequency like the Promethean, but they have a display on them. So there's more than just numbers. You can communicate words back and forth as well.
All right, we're gonna switch now to the Promethean. It's on the other side of the room with Jeff. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Top marks. Lori, can you write that address in the chat?
Okay. Switch gears
Please.
over here.
Thanks.
All of you that thought you had a front row seat, you're now in the back of the theater. So I'll try to speak up to compete with the band and everything that's in here. I'm Jeff Shaw. I teach in Highland Park at an elementary school. I teach 3rd grade. So I'm coming to it from a slightly different point of view in that I'm a classroom teacher using one of these things. Right now, I'm the only classroom teacher at the elementary level in my district who has one of these things. That's because I begged Pat Hawley, who's our tech director in our district, to get me one of these to pilot. I said I would pilot it, you know? And so that was a good way to sell it. And so I got one of these in my classroom, and I've been using it since last December, and trying to convince the district that this is a good step forward for teachers. And I wasn't completely sold on it myself when I first got it. I had to try it out for myself to see if it really has potential. And I would have to say that after using it now since January, I'm very sold on the whole thing. For me, it has, first of all, I'll say I'm comfortable teaching in front of the class. Not everybody is. I don't mind standing up in front of the class and teaching, and that's what this is really good for. In the past, I used an overhead projector. I don't need it anymore. Everything that I used to be able to do on an overhead, I do on this. I used to have a little 27-inch monitor hooked up to a computer that I would use to demonstrate things on the computer. Don't need that anymore because I've got this. I've got my video player, the VCR, hooked up to our projector, so I don't need the TV for the video show anymore either. I can play DVDs through my laptop. So, you know, it really provides a solution for a lot of different purposes. Plus, it's just a good chalkboard. It's a good whiteboard, you know, so it does all these things. Plus, you have the advantage of being able to save whatever you do on here and bring it back later to use if you so desire. I thought I would just start off here with a little demonstration, but first I should just say that this is Promethean's sort of deluxe unit, you might say. What we've got here is a Sanyo short throw projector. It's got a real kind of sort of a fisheye lens at the front of it that allows it to project to this from a short distance away. And it comes out on an arm that's connected to the board, so the whole thing moves together. So that's important because you don't want to have to readjust the video projector's angle that it's hitting the screen, because when you do, then it affects where this shows up, you see. You want these to be in line with each other, the pen and the mouse. And so it saves you from having to recalibrate it and readjust it all the time. So that's important. So anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little survey. I've got some questions here that I want you to answer for me. Now, you've got those voting devices in front of you. They're I either call them voters or eggs, or if I'm really in the mood, I'll say voting devices, you know. Helps to stretch the third grader's language. But you'll notice that it has a circle of white buttons with the letters A through F on them. Those are the ones that you need to look at. Don't worry about the orange button in the middle. That's just for registering it initially, and you don't have to do that. And the other buttons at the top, there's a red button and a green button. The red button will flash when you send a vote to the computer. And the green button will flash when it's received your vote. and you'll see it also at the top of the screen. Now, each of you have a specific device. If you turn it over, you'll see that there's a number on the back. And so there'll be a space up here that corresponds to that number. When you vote, your number should turn yellow, so keep an eye on that. If it doesn't happen, then I can maybe let you retry it again. Sometimes it doesn't always connect the first time. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to start an active vote session. We're going to do this anonymously. And 32 devices, okay. So the first question is, where do you work? Choose one of these 4 answers. And wait a second, you got to wait till you see the strip going across the top. Okay. It's always a straggler. Number 23. Technical difficulties?
The one lane.
Somebody not voting?
I don't think she passed out all of them.
Oh, okay. Is number 23 still in there?
I'm on 23. That's me. I'm the Glenbrook North person. I'm right there with you.
I said just a well-known high school. I didn't give a name.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we get then is a little bar graph that shows you your responses. And of course, remember the A was, what was A? A high school, middle school, elementary school, and other. So it looks like the middle school is less well represented than the elementary. Now I could, if I save this at the end, if I save this flip chart here, it will save the vote, so I could call this up later. I could also assign a particular voter to a particular student, and then it will tell me, it can tell me later if I want to see, like, what, I can see how each person or each voter responded. There's supposed to be a way that you can actually put a child's name in here, too, instead of it just saying A1, A2, A3, but unfortunately, they haven't quite worked that out on the Mac side yet. It's under development. So we're still waiting for that.
Now, when you save it like you save anything else?
Yep, just saves like a normal document.
And you can export it into an Excel document.
You can take this and export it. You can look at it as a pie chart. That just tells me that 100% answered. That's not particularly useful. It's not letting me choose the other ones. But anyway, we can even look at response times, I guess. If you want to keep track of that, you can do that. All right, so let's go on to the next question. I only have 3 questions, so it won't take too long. Okay. I'm supposed to say, how long have you been an educator?
Oh.
Not sure what happened to the educator part. Okay, so how long have you been an educator? Choose the appropriate response. Okay. Well, that's an interesting pattern we've got there. 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, and plus 20. So it looks like we have a very experienced group here. Or old.
And they said you can't teach an old dog.
And then what is your familiarity with the Promethean active board? Whoops, looks like I'm playing.
Like the font.
I did it. I made this on this
the
computer. So I'm not sure why it's not showing up properly. But there are your choices. Unfortunately, there's no way to do more than one unless I gave you another choice that said B and C or all of the above. Promethean has just come out with a new device, active expression, which does allow a lot of other different kinds of data entry. Text. Got like a text message pad, like a cell phone. You can do a Likert scale. You can do true false. You've got a lot of different choices. Okay, let's see what the results are here. Oh, I guess somebody.
Yeah, somebody had.
Well, let's just cancel that and we'll see what we got here. So it looks like we've got a very even distribution here. These people haven't used it. You've heard of it, but you've never used one. Using other devices and have used the Promethean. So pretty spread out group here. So that's just one example of something you can do. Now I use it obviously in different ways in 3rd grade, but the kids love it. I will say that. And I will also say this. it's expensive. These things are expensive. The box cost, I think, about $2,000. To me, it's not worth it to buy one per classroom. I think this is something you would share, maybe keep one in your library and have it available to the staff, because it's not something I would use every day. I have to work to make sure, actually I don't have to work to make a lesson out. I could do it just on the fly. So for example, if I wanted to just write answer choices A, B, and C up here, I could have you vote on it. There's nothing magic about having those fancy graphics up there. All I need is give them choices, and then they can use these devices to vote. So you don't have to do a lot of work ahead of time. It's just that it's a bit of a pain to pass them out and to collect them and make sure that nobody drops them on the floor while you're using them. But they've been very good about it. So.
Jeff, they're coming out with software that you can vote right through your laptop.
Yes, there's Active Vote VR, I think it's called. So if you have a laptop in front of you, you can do the same exact thing as what you've just done with that voter in your hands. Okay? So, you know, I think a lot of what you saw on the smartboard side is also true on this. It's a lot like Mac versus PC. You can do a lot of the same things, but it's a slightly different way to get there. You have a toolbox here, and I cannot use my fingers. My fingers do absolutely no good on here. So that's one difference. You have to use this thing. And it doesn't have a battery in it or anything. It's just the stylus that you have to use to make it work. And so that's the only way you can input information. Now there's another gizmo here, the Active Wand, for height challenged people. Or kids, yes, kids. I mean, I have to actually have a step ladder. I have a little step stool in front of my whiteboard because the littlest ones in my class, there's no way they can reach up here. So one thing I do is I keep the toolbox down low where the kids can access it, and then I also have the step stool there so if they have to get up high, they can. And you want the kids up here as much as possible. I don't want to just be the only one using it. They think it's the greatest thing ever invented, so they want to get up there and try it. I had a group of about 10 kids stay in at lunch recess for a couple of days last week so I could train them to use the whiteboard when I'm not there. You know, so if there's a substitute one day, a substitute's not going to be able to come in and do this, but a third grader can. So, no offense to substitutes, but the kids are just so excited to be able to do that. They really think it's a great honor and a thrill to be able to get up here and use this thing. Now, if every classroom had one, then the novelty factor wears off, so I recognize that. But right now, it's a very neat tool for them to use and for me to use too. Let me, this is just a plain flip chart. I've got the tools up here. I have a highlighter tool, so if I want to highlight something, I can highlight it. The text tools for typing in text. The undo tool does just as it should do. It undoes whatever you just did last, up to, I don't know, multiple undos. And then you can redo also. You have the window shade. What did you call it on yours?
Yeah, window shade.
Yeah, or reveal tool, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The reveal tool. So. And it can work both ways. I don't know, does yours go sideways?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And
This is a little bit like comparing a Ford to a Chevy. What's that?
Bottom up. Yeah, bottom up.
Bottom up. I would like to be able to go two directions, you know? I would like to be able to go halfway this way and then go that way, but you can't do that, unfortunately.
How about writing to text?
Yes, if I turn on, I guess, no, I don't, because I have, let me just go into my system preferences for a second. What do I want? Here it is.
Yeah.
You have to turn on this, hey, there we go, handwriting recognition is on. Allow me to ink in everything. What's the one that keeps you from having that yellow pad?
I was just trying to remember. I just allow me to ink in any application.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then if I come over here and turn it on here, I get a little palette that allows me to set the font and all that. It allows me to change it from alphabet to alphanumeric, so if I want to do numbers and letters. So So now if I type in, or if I write in something, whoops.
No, you need to uncheck. You have to uncheck the
Oh, okay.
ink and I'm Yeah, that's a problem.
Oops, I don't want to close that. Oh, fortunately, it doesn't take long to get it back. Let me just go back one more second here. To ink. And then print that off. Okay.
I don't know if I heard that.
I think it so. There. Okay. Now let's try it and see what happens.
Jeff, are you left-handed?
Yes, I am. Well, it didn't come out so good. It's kind of like the first new. No, actually, I have interest in.
I love it.
Because I know on one.
Cursive I haven't had much success with. The other thing is, I can set this to be much larger. 14 is way too small. I usually have it at 36. And so let's try that again.
Maybe do output and put it out there.
Your E's hard.
And then you.
Well, you know what?
Two separate strokes. Now, if I switch to alpha instead of alphanumeric and I do it the same way, it should work.
It should.
No.
You want continuous lines.
So you have to do it like this.
Is it the same with the smart board?
I think it's an easy recognition changes to
Now, if it comes out capital, you just come down here to alternatives and you can switch it to lowercase.
And then you can move that around.
So if I get my pointer tool, then I can just drag it. I want to get rid of that. Just double click it.
All one continuous.
Double click it.
Some of them have done that was harder for everyone than so he was on
Yeah,
Twitter.
the text
and
is about
he's
that.
Ustreaming it.
Come on.
And so he streams an online
There we go.
watching it. And also Scott.
Here's the thing the kids like best. When you want to get rid of everything, click on the washer
I have it
tool,
on the lock.
and it all goes away. Now these are objects, so I have to clear the objects
I've
too.
been Ustreaming into
There they go.
That's cool.
Let me show you a couple of examples of what I actually do with it in class, some flip charts and things that I've done. Let's close that.
What percent of the time would you say that you use?
I would say I use it in one shape or another for almost every lesson.
Okay.
I'm not using it all the time for every
Right,
lesson, but I try to use it at least for some part of every lesson, whether it's handwriting or math or whatever.
It's located in your room.
It's located in my room. There all the time. Yep.
Ready to go.
That's right. And when we talked about pilot, we had this discussion about is it better to put it in the lab or in the library or put it in a classroom? And the Promethean people argued that you should put it in a classroom because a teacher that has it all the time is much more likely to take ownership of it and use it full time. And that's what I've done. I felt like I was obligated to do that since I had it in my room. And if I was going to suggest to the district what to do next, I wouldn't say go and buy one for every classroom in the school. I think that's a mistake, because I think you're going to have what happened at New Trier, that other high school, whatever it was. I don't know what high school it was, I was just guessing. And you're going to have a bunch of teachers that aren't comfortable with it, maybe don't get enough training in it, aren't self-starters, and don't end up making good use of it. I would much rather roll it out slowly, take a group of 3 or 4 people at each building that really want to jump on board with this, form a users group, compare notes, and make it work. And then once those people show what can be done with it, hopefully it'll spread out from there. Also, it makes sense for a district to roll it out slowly because these things are expensive. You know, you got $1,800 here. I think this whole setup is much more expensive, actually, the one that has the arm coming out like this.
Same with Smartboard.
Smartboard
And,
makes one with the arm coming out also, where it's all one
And the
piece.
inner right, do they do that too?
I think they do.
Everybody's keeping up with the Joneses here, you know, they all...
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
The nice thing about the boom is, I don't know if you mentioned it before, less shadow, more space. It's terrific.
Well, the one thing that I wish I could see, unfortunately, in my classroom, it's sitting on a cart. And the cart is right in the, you know, surrounded by kids all day. And, you know, they try really hard not to bump into the cart. But it happens. And when it happens, then you have to recalibrate the board, which only takes a few seconds, but it's still, it's a bit of an annoyance. This is a much nicer setup. Gotta put this thing down. I should get one of these things. I just like to, you know, have something in my hand. Oops, tennis tomorrow. Let's see. Well, I'll just show you a couple of ways that it can be used. Here's a kind of a fun example. So these are magic numbers. I'm going to turn off recognition.
One of the things that I really liked about the board is because it's such a hard surface. I worked with BD students who had a tendency to take their anger out on a lot of things. And I didn't have any problems with the board because the board is just, I mean, you're not going to hurt it.
Get over on camera. I really want to see you.
I don't need to go on camera.
So now this one was not written for 3rd grade. It's more like 1st grade. But it says, can you say the magic numbers that will appear at as each number passes behind the wizard's hat? So you take the number 8 and you ask them, well, what will I get if I send it over to the other side? And they say, I'll have somebody ask or say what the answer is. They'll come up and move it over to the other side, and it turns into a 9. And 5 turns into a 6, and so on. So kids like that sort of thing. Very simple. And all it is, it's the two numbers together, side by side. One number's blue, the other number's red. So when you slide it over to the other side, the blue number blends in with the blue background, and the red number shows up on this side. The red number is not there.
So you could do that.
Shouldn't have said anything. I'll show you another one. I'll show you one that I do use. This is a little grammar activity called Fatya. Okay, so on this one, they have to write what it says and then do all the proofreading and to correct it. And what I would do then is, well, this one is not a great example, but here, I'll show you one that makes a little more sense. Because this is embedded in a story. There's a story that starts at the beginning of the year and continues through the year. And each day you're adding a little bit more of the story to it. So this is a story about two children who come from another country to a school, and they're learning all the different things about the language that they need to know. So because the French placed most adjectives after the noun, Marie had a hard time with adjectives. So then what the kids would do is write that correctly, and then I would have one of them come up and be the teacher, and they'd ask the kids, well, what needs to be changed first? And they'll say, oh, because needs a capital at the beginning. So they come here with the eraser tool, and they come over here and just erase what it is actually is 2 layers. There's a top layer and an underneath layer. So you're just erasing the top layer and revealing what's underneath. And French needs a capital letter here, so you just go over it. And again, it's something that they really enjoy doing. It's a simple idea. There's a comma here, capital letter there, so on.
Cool.
What else? When we, on Friday, we keep track of the sunrise and sunset times. Unfortunately, this is not set up right now, but if I had it set up right, if I clicked on this, it would take me to the web page that gives you the data for sunrise and sunset. Unfortunately, it's set to go to the Promethean world, which I want to show you later anyway, but I'm not going to show it to you right now. But I could just as easily go to my browser and get it there, you know, so I could just open up the browser. Here it's in Firefox. Oops, Firefox. There we go. And so I could access it there, and then I could go back. I could resize this, and I could have both windows on at the same time. Again, you can just use the active board with a website. Like this is from BBC. This is a friction activity. So I've used this recently with my class, and the idea is that you're making a car slide on different surfaces. And they can come up here, push the handle, and it guides you through different things to do here. It didn't go because the friction was too high. Try choosing a surface with lower friction. So they look through the choices here, and there's wood and carpet and ice. So they like the ice, so we'll put the ice in there. Now you push it, and it goes far. And then there's a series of other things they can do. BBC is an excellent resource for interactive educational software. They really got some good stuff. I haven't explored for upper grades, but certainly for my level, there's some high-quality stuff.
Is there a website for that, Jeff?
Yes, this is BBC.
Is that the Revised Lives site?
Yes, it is, Revised Lives.
Yeah, you came way ahead of us.
If you just do a search, for BBC schools in Google, it'll come right up.
It's great.
bbc.co.uk, I think.
Yeah.
They have great
And the one I
typing.
gave was Top Marks, the same thing, they're out of UK too.
And what I was looking at was called bite-sized revision. They have English, math, or as they say, maths, and science, and not only do they have these interactive little demonstrations, like in the science area, but then there's a multiple choice quiz to go with it. So what I'll do is I'll do that fraction activity with the kids, guide them through it, and then I'll show them the quiz, and they'll use the voters to choose their answer. So I get immediate feedback without having to sit there and grade papers as to whether or not they're getting the concepts. And it gives me really good feedback in a hurry. So that's a very great resource. What I have done is I've gone through and I've looked for lots and lots of good websites that I could find that are interactive, and I've made just a folder in my bookmarks called Active Board, and I've got math, language arts, science. These are the Promethean sites, and then I have some other things that I've come across. A lot of the good stuff is coming out of Britain, and this company is British, as a matter of fact. They seem to be more on the cutting edge of this than we are. I think it's because the government gave schools a huge grant to put these things in. So there was an opportunity there for a company. Is Smartboard British too, or is that, what the origin of that company is? Canadian? Okay. Well, the Brits jumped on this. I was over there teaching on a Fulbright exchange in 2000 to 2001, and I never saw any of these at that point. So sometime between 2001 and now, it kind of happened over there. And as a result, there's lots of websites devoted. Here's the National Whiteboard Network. Devoted to...
Can you send us those links and we can put them up on our website to
Sure.
share? Do you have a delicious? Is that Terry? Yeah, do you have a delicious?
I do have a delicious.
Are those on there?
No. But
Or maybe-
here it is, right there.
Maybe.
Post it right now,
I have
Jeff.
to confess, I kind of got off the delicious bandwagon, so...
If you send the folder to Terry, he'll put it up. We have a, right, Terry?
Right.
We have a resources page on the nice page, and we'll try to put up the links up there. If that's
Just a bit about terminology. Year 1 and 2 refers to what we would call kindergarten and first grade. Years 3 and 4 would be second and third grade. It's just, whatever the number is, it's a year behind what ours is, as they call kindergarten level, year 1. So it only goes up to year 5 and 6, and then it goes into LEA managers and school leaderships, which I'm not sure what that refers to. But if you just search for interactive whiteboard resources, again, on Google, you'll find a lot of the same stuff that I'm
Or
finding.
activities, I said activities, we got stuff too.
And Pat, is there a way to get past the filter here? Is there a way to bypass that?
I just heard of a new proxy bypasser.
On my computer, Sarah and I are filtered
But there's no way.
based on our MAC address, but I don't know
My
how to do
URL.
it. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
There's on YouTube, there is a demonstration of new technology from Promethean, which is called multi-touch. And multi-touch means that more than one user can be up here at the same time, entering information into it. Like they show two boys up there that are playing a math game, and they're both doing all kinds of stuff up here, and at the same time, it's all happening fast as lightning. So,
Called Arena, and it's going to be part of the January release.
okay. And it looks really interesting. You know, I think the more interactive you can make stuff like this, the better. Right now, it's limited to one user at a time. Let me look at my list, see if I'm forgetting anything important. You can take any PDF and turn it into a flip chart. Let me just show you that. Like here, if I have a flip chart of a map right here, it's a PDF right here. All I have to do is go into my Active Studio software and choose Import from PDF.
Or from Smart Notebook.
Or from Smart Notebook if you are a smartboard user. And I'm just going to go to that folder and find that PDF. It asks you if you want it to make it the original size or custom size and so on. I'm going to make it part of a new flip chart and import it. And there it is. I grabbed maps from the nationalatlas.gov, and you know, I could also see this thing replacing those pull-down maps that you have to spend money on in a school district. Here you've got free maps, and you can zoom in on them. You've got a zoom tool. You can either use the zoom tool down in the. You've got this down here that you can use, or you actually have a tool that will allow you to zoom in on a certain. If you just hold it on there, it'll keep zooming in as much as you want. And then if you want to go back to the normal resolution, just double click and go back. So that's kind of a nice thing. You also have a camera tool built in, so you can take a picture of anything on your screen. If you find something on the web and you want to just copy it, you can just quickly take a picture of it. So if I go, did I close? Yeah, I guess I closed Firefox. No, it's still there. So if I wanted, for some insane reason, to take a picture of that. One thing I don't like about Promethean is that every time you hit the toolbar, it goes back into your current flip chart. So sometimes that gets to be a little bit annoying. So I'm just going to use my camera tool, and I can then use these parameters here and take a picture of it. Whoops, it's sliding up. Let's try that again. That's one of the problems. Sometimes it doesn't always work as precisely as you would like it to. And then over here you can copy it to your current flip chart, or you can just copy it to the clipboard. I'm just going to add it to the next page of the flip chart. And there it is. So it's very easy to transfer things from one program to another.
You could also add it to your resource library.
Yeah, well, I haven't even shown the
Same with
This
Smartboard,
has,
right?
yeah, this has a resource library which is very similar to the one already demonstrated on the Smartboard. You have backgrounds, you have collections of backgrounds and images and flip charts and all kinds of different things, shapes, arrowheads. I mean, anything you want, you can pretty much find in there. 15,000 separate resources. So it's quite a good collection of stuff. If you teach foreign languages, they've got resources for Spanish, Rojo, on that kind of thing. All right. A lot of potential built in. The trick is finding the time to explore all of it and sitting down and putting it all together. I think I've covered pretty much what I wanted to show you. Oh, right, that was the other thing. Thank you. So there is a Promethean website. Let's get rid of this. And it appears. There's Promethean Planet. And we've go into the North American ones. In this one, you can get news, events, product information, and so on, support such as the latest updates to the software upgrades, and so on. Then if you come down here, this is Promethean Planet, and that is a user website. They have a forum on there. There's a place where you can get flip charts that other teachers have made. So there's lots of resources here available for teachers, and the opportunity to ask questions if you go to the forum.
What I like about it is it's a complete online community of all other users from all over the world. I've posted questions to the forum and gotten answers in 20 minutes from 5 people from all over the globe. And they're very much on top of things because their developers and stuff monitor this. So like as soon as Leopard came out and people started trying it, they immediately started working on fixes for things. So they're very much on top of things. And the resources that are uploaded go through a very stringent process before they're uploaded. And they're all available. All you have to do is search for them. You can search by state standard, you can search by subjects, by grade levels. So there's a lot of power in that planet.
So here's some examples of flip charts that have been recently added.
There's also tutorials on atomic learning.
Links to the flip charts.
The erasers.
Quality flip chart resources aligned to state standards. You can search by topic or state standards.
And you guys have
We have a Promethean user group that meets at Graph Tech in Deerfield about once every month or 6 weeks or so. Just started up this fall and trying to expand our user base here a little bit.
Do you know when the next meeting is? Do you know when the next meeting is?
They haven't said it yet.
Okay.
Keith just
Soon.
got back, so it'll be soon.
Someday.
I would think like...
Any questions?
There's a question over here.
Yes.
I have 2 questions. First one is, between the Smartboard and Promethean, can you use regular whiteboard markers on either one?
No.
No.
Okay. And the other
You
question...
can, but
I wanted to ask,
Not recommended.
some kids gonna pick it up, I just wanted to know.
now I will say this, I've never had a problem with that. Kids, 3rd graders have never, ever
They're so protective of
wanted
the
to use
board.
I tell them the first day, you don't write on this with a normal, I've never had to say it again.
I will tell you though, we had a substitute teacher write on ours with a permanent marker.
This is why you
Were you
teach.
able to get it off?
Yeah,
why you
it's
teach
scrubbed
the
off with
kids.
like, soft
Be
scrub.
the guardian.
We called and they said you soft scrub and it came off,
So she
so.
was able to get off permanent
I have at
marker.
least 3 or 4 kids who would wrestle the teacher to the ground. And they would let that teacher write on it with a marker. Yes.
And does Atomic Learning have Smartboard tutorials?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was assuming since it has...
Yes, and it has Promethean tutorials.
Yes, you said that.
Oh, sorry.
Jeff, most of the things that you're doing, interacting with the board, you could also do with the tablet.
Yes.
Does Promethean or Smart allow you to purchase the software with the tablet without the board?
And input it to a video into your computer.
So
and
if cost is a
instead of
problem,
putting it up here.
you can buy the $400 or $300 tablet.
Yeah, maybe I use the right side.
Well, why would you even need that type of a tablet? You could just get a regular graphic tablet for an extra computer. But connect your computer.
But you wouldn't have all the active Studio software. That's what we're
But
talking
you can
about.
get the Smartboard software for free.
If you own
If you buy the smart tablet or the smart board.
Right.
You have to
But
own
then-
some
That's a
device.
free download.
Only if you own the device.
That's an excellent question, and I really don't know the answer to it. We haven't used these, but that's an interesting option for
And there's a difference
saving
between the
money.
tablet and the slate, because the tablet is connected to your computer, whereas the slate allows you to go wireless.
Right.
Is anybody else using tablet PCs with projectors and just bypassing the whole smartboard?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things you can do
as well.
But that's PC only.
Right now.
Yeah.
But you gotta do it on your box to hold it, you can't do it up in front of the room, right? Just the real power, this is you're in front of the classroom, and
Yeah.
your mouse
No.
is in your hand, and you're touching that board.
But the other thing is if you have students who have it with a wireless projector, you can flip and change who's viewing and who's doing what at the same time. So it's
It's a different way of operating.
right.
And on behalf of the tablet, sometimes you don't want to be at the front of the room, sometimes you want to be right behind a particular person.
No.
I'm just saying, on behalf of the tablets, there is a...
It would be nice
there's sometimes
to
a-
not be tethered to this, and you
Yeah.
are somewhat tethered to this. Where you, unless what I do is I have the kids come up here and be
Right.
my hands up here, and then I can circulate around the room. I don't feel that I have to be the one up here teaching all the time.
And the other question is for anybody who's used this, do you have the kids developing lessons as, I mean, obviously when a teacher has this, I think you get 6 licenses or 5 licenses with the Promethean?
6.
6. So you could take one home on your laptop and you could spend your time setting up those slides, and I'm sure the notebook is the same, but in terms of what are the students doing?
There
Was
is
anybody-
a student side of things. I don't know if
It's not available, again, it's not available on the Mac side, but on the PC side, there is a student version that can be loaded on as many computers as you want, and kids can develop flip charts for this, the same as they would do a PowerPoint or any other interactive program. So yeah, that is a possibility. I have not had my kids doing that, but, you know, again, they're third graders, so you take one step at a time. But they're at the point now where some of them are capable of easily jumping into this and doing stuff with it. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, but you load it in a PDF as a flip chart.
Yeah, you can take anything.
There's also nice resources, podcasts, like just on iTunes or, you know, and interactive whiteboards. I don't, you know, say it's very nice to list the subject so if it pertains to what your class is doing, you can listen to it. But it's kind of fun to hear how other people are interacting with it, and it does give you some more ideas. I'm sure it's true for...
The challenge is for me is always to try to make it as interactive as possible, because otherwise it's just standing up there in front of a chalkboard. And so the trick is to make the things as interactive as you can. And I will say I'm not brilliant every day, but I'm learning, and I'm building up a library of resources that I will be able to use over and over. Right now I'm still going through the first year. I'm still working with curriculum that I didn't use with this last year, so I'm developing as I go along. But once I've developed it, then I can refine it, and I can look for other ways that I can enhance it.
One of the other pieces that Promethean just pretty much opened up in the last 6 to 8 months is Promethean Learning, which is actually online courses, and the first online course on Active Studio 3 is free, and then you can take their next set and the next set. And they start to cost money because at the end you're a certified trainer for Active Studio. So, but they're doing online interactive courses, and the first one is free. So if you're interested or if you want to learn more about it, they're very good courses.
And if you wanted to look through any of these flip charts, there's a flip chart viewer that you can download here that you don't need to have any special license for or anything, so that you can at least look and see what other people are doing and see if there's enough here to make it interesting. Sometimes it's just good to get somebody else's take on a topic, and then you can customize it to your own set of circumstances. Any other questions? Yes.
I assume text can be enlarged on the tools and everything else are partially sided, so you want an larger keyboard that it can all be enlarged?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keyboard, you're kind of limited to small and large sizes that you can't infinitely enlarge. But you can certainly make text any size you want.
Can you bring up the keyboard?
Sure.
Please,
It looks.
you can't type with 10 fingers. You can only type with
Yeah,
one finger.
yeah, because you can't touch it with your hand.
But can you enlarge that keyboard?
Well, you know, I didn't. That's true. I didn't show the power tools. There's a power tool set here, and they include. And I don't know if Smartboard. I didn't see it, but you've got several different.
It's grayed out. It's grayed out.
You don't have a chart open. You're still.
Oh, right, because I don't have a flip chart. That's right. Thank you. Let me get the flip chart open. So you've got rulers that you can pull up.
Yeah.
One thing I like about the ruler is that when you pivot it, the numbers pivot too, so that they always stay vertical. So you can use this to measure things. Right? Draw lines. You can measure things. You can have here measure things. And you have centimeter, millimeter, and inch rulers. You have a half protractor and a full protractor. So if you're doing that sort of thing, if you, what size tag? If I start here and I go up to like 50 degrees, let's go to 60 degrees, it'll automatically fill that in as an angle. So you can quickly draw angles of a certain size. And if you wanted this to look bigger, the easiest thing to do is just zoom in. So you can pivot this also, and turn this, and again the numbers pivot as you pivot. So they're always easy to read. You've got dice. You can roll dice. Fraction maker, it'll turn a written fraction if I have handwriting on. Let's see if it works. So if I wanted to make a fraction here, I'd just write it here, and then it will put it in like that. That calculator. Keyboard. Looks a little different. You can set it to be that standard one that was shown on the other one. So this is sometimes a little hard to read, but it'll either get small or big. Those are your only two sizes. But again, you can zoom in on it if you want to. Oh no, it doesn't zoom in. That's right. It's just this is your web. It has a built-in web browser if you want to use it. It has a ticker tape, so if you want to send a message across the top. I don't think I have one that I could show, so I'd have to define one. But then just study for quiz tomorrow, you know. Infinitely across the top of the board. And then you've got the ability to record, like you were trying to do over there, full screen video recorder and an area video recorder, so you can record what you're doing. This one I use quite a bit. It's a timer. You have an analog clock. You resize that to any size. You can have countdown clock, which I use we do a math time test. So I set it for 4 minutes, and then it goes off. And when it's done, Big Ben plays. So here we go. We'll have a countdown. 4, 3, 2, 1. So those are the power strips. That's pretty much it. There's a lot of possibilities built into it. It's how creative you want to be with it. Yes?
A text-to-speech, I assume, or no?
Text-to-speech.
It'll read what you write?
The Mac OS has a way.
Yes, the Mac OS.
So you could do it through the Mac OS.
Yeah.
You could.
I would assume
in the
that there would be a
universal
way to do it.
Yeah,
through
any of the
universal
universals,
access,
yes.
But it's not part of the program itself. It's part of the OS. Anything else?
Cost of ownership seems the lamppost, so.
Yes, which just happened to go out on mine this morning, so. I was trying to figure out, well, how many hours have I used this projector? I got it last December, or at the end of December, so really from January. I couldn't have used it for more than 100 or so school days. At 6 hours a day, and I know I don't have it on 6 hours a day, that's only 600 hours. We should be getting more hours than that out of a bulb.
Do you clean your filter every month? That's really critical.
Oh, really?
Yes. Take the filter out and blow it out every month. Just
Okay.
make that the first of the month, put an alarm up to do that. It'll extend the bulb a lot.
Thank you. That's
Our
good to
AV
know.
guys are real good about that.
The tech person in our building should know that, but she didn't know that.
On the projector, there's a filter.
Yeah. Where the fan, it's in the back where the fan goes.
Charlie, will you come over to my school and show me where that is?
Sarah needs hers clean.
Just blow it out.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, well, hope you enjoy.
Just from a tech standpoint, a couple of bumps we've had, because we have now maybe altogether about 10 in the district, and we bumped I would go for the professional installation, because
A little crooked sometimes.
and we got one that wiggles, and when the heat comes on in the room, it jiggles the projector, and then it's gotta be, so the ones that were done, that our maintenance guys did, and nothing against them, I mean, they ran the electric and did all that, but we're taking those down and calling the guys to do the professional installation. They really make a big difference in it. And they mount it, because the distance between the board and the projector is critical. So you don't want to be readjusting it multiple times. So I would go with a good vendor for that, and get them to install the stuff for you. The other thing is, when you install the board, it wasn't mounted, some of them weren't mounted, and they wiggle, at the bottom. And so we went over to GBN and said, okay, what'd you guys do? We went in and looked into behind all their boards, and they actually put a board that they cut and put behind there so that the jiggle wasn't there.
I thought they put a little Velcro on it as well.
Yes, well, they Velcro
Into the board.
it to the board, so that it keeps the board from jumping. So those are just my experience with the 10 or so we have in the district. Go with the professional installation, it's worth it, and get the little piece of Velcro and the piece of wood to keep it from bouncing.
This one is on a stand.
Yes.
And that's nice, and it's very sturdy. The only thing is that it's a big footprint. And if you have a limited space in a classroom to put this, you want it on the wall, you can possibly do it. The advantage to this is that it's more portable. So if you plan on moving this around from room to room, it's more of a possibility this way. It doesn't seem to have, well, it does have rollers, yes, it has rollers on it, but it's locked into position here.
We have a couple that are also portable, and we have pieces of carpet-friendly tape where to put it back, so that, it's the right position if the board should go to another room.
There's also a choice between hooking up through the USB cord that you would run, from the board, maybe through your ceiling or somewhere down to your computer, or a Bluetooth connection. In this room, I have a Bluetooth connection, so I just have a little thingy, technical term, that goes into my computer.
Promethean as well has some capability of connecting by Bluetooth. I found it was a little bit flaky, so I went back to the solid USB connection, which seems to work properly all the time. But getting this thing out of the room, I don't know what you have to do. I guess you must have to take it sideways. Yeah, it must pivot sideways. Because otherwise, if you try to take it out the door this way, it's an accident waiting to happen.
The other thing with the professional installation that I forgot to mention is that we asked the guys, the people who did it, to put a box in, and they gave us several connectors in the box, so the Elmo projector plugs in,
and the VCR.
And the VCR, so you can play on DVD, not just VCR, but
Yes, you're right. You're right.
And we have those inputs now in a little panel, so you don't have to try to climb up and plug stuff into the projector on rolling chairs.
Yeah, I've got my VCR plugged into my projector, but the one thing I don't have that I would like is the cable TV. So when the kids are gone, I can watch the Cubs game.
On the board. Yeah.
You just have to sign into MLB on the side.
It's the high definition.
That's right.
Well, thank you to Sarah and to Jeff. Thank you. And I think is it okay if we do some playtime? But before we open it up to playtime, because obviously feel free to leave whenever you've had enough. But we want to let you know about some upcoming events and important dates to remember. On December 1st, it's a Saturday. Our own Charlene Chowser.
And Jeff.
Turn the camera to yourself. They're going to be doing a digital photography workshop over at Stevenson High School. Again, it's on December 1st from 9 a.m. to noon. And It's open only to dues-paying members of ICE, so you have to be a dues-paying ICE member. And if you're interested, you need to contact Charlene, because I think there's a limit.
I think
there's probably like a limit of the.
I think we're letting in 2 people this time.
I don't know. And hopefully there won't be a winter storm or anything, but you need to pre-register, and we ask if you pre-register that you do show up, because we're counting on you guys to be there. And so if something should come up, let them know, don't just not show up. And then on Saturday, January 26th, we have our mini conference, which this year is going to be held in Vernon Hills at Townline School. For those of you that don't know, that's when we have a bunch of different tech-related teacher, sessions on a variety of different topics. I'm sure I don't know what we're going to have, but if you are an expert in some area and you would like to present, the co-chairs this year are Ann Truger and Chris Hansen. So if you see one of them, and we'll probably send out an email of a call for presenters coming out sometime soon. Or the end of
It's in the newsletter now.
It's in the newsletter now. Sorry, I should read the newsletter.
That's your call.
It's in the newsletter now, so if you're interested, I think you're supposed to contact Chris, and he can, get you all set up for that. And then February 26th to the 29th is the ILTCE conference in St. Charles.
And we're still accepting poster sessions through November 1st. So 2 more days if you want to put in for a poster.
And
he still could use some posters, so hint, if you have something you can share, you get free registration for the day you do poster session.
And if you volunteer, you can attend for free, and you can contact Charlene about that as well. And then we resume our regular meetings. Then our next meeting is Wednesday, March 19th, and it's going to be at the New Trier Northfield campus, and our topic is animation tools. And we're looking for presenters, so if you use animation tools in your classroom, such as Flash or Sketch or any of those other ones, and you are interested in presenting, we're not too hard on you, I don't think, so let us know. And then our last meeting of the year will be Tuesday, May 6th at the New Trier Northfield campus, and we'll let you know later what it's on. It will be a panel. We always end with some sort of a panel discussion, so it'll be a panel discussion. And then one final thing, at our mini conference is when we open up our mini grants. We offered those last year. Did anyone get that?
Charlene.
Oh, Charlene. Got iPods. So we have our mini grants. We'll release it in January at the mini conference, and then we'll announce it, I think, at the May meeting. At the May meeting, it will be announced. So that's kind of all the dates, and again, feel free to play around. And
Could we perhaps tell people how they can view this Ustream?
There'll be a link on the NICE website.
We'll give the link to Terry, and we'll put a link on the NICE website. And then
and how about the resources?
the resources, yeah, we'll do a link, and if you have any and you want to send them, and we'll put Lucy Gray's website up there. We'll double check with her as well. So we'll have lots of resources up on our website to check out. Yeah, Chris.
One last thing, evaluation sheets are here. If you would mind filling them out, feedback, and also CCDU forms are right next to it.
And if you guys can turn into Ann the active votes, the eggs, that would be great. And if you guys could throw your garbage out as well, but feel free to play around.
And there's more pizza.
And cookies.
Help yourself.
Say goodnight, Michelle. Michelle, say goodnight.